Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Ron DeSantis taking Trump out of context and goes viral beyond all belief. Now, looks like this is 41 seconds long, and let's see here. Ron DeSantis actually tweeted this video. So without further ado, I'll play the video, then read. I'll read DeSantis first. So DeSantis says, quote, Trump denigrates military service by claiming it is, quote unquote, braver that he debated Hillary Clinton than what our soldiers endure on the battlefield. Debating isn't brave, quote unquote, it is the bare minimum any candidate should do. Hiding for debates, on the other hand, is an example of cowardice, unquote. Says straight from the horse's mouth, or the Ron DeSantis mouth. Although, that would be a fascinating parody. I'm not sure if a horse could wear high heels like DeSantis does. Well, be an interesting parody for another time. But without further ado.
But I went onto that stage just a few days later, and a general who's a fantastic general actually said to me, sir, I've been on the battlefield. Men have gone down on my left and on my right. I stood on hills where soldiers were killed. But I believe the bravest thing I've ever seen was the night you went onto that stage with Hillary Clinton after what happened. And then that woman asked you the first question about it. And I said, locker room talk. It's locker room talk. What the hell? What are you talking? Locker room talk. That was not a great...
So yeah, 5.4 million views. This is perhaps the most viral thing DeSantis has ever tweeted in his tweeting career. Now, going to again, that got specifically, it also got 8,900 likes. And going to the comments, the first one comes from TRM MAGA Listless Vessel. Says, quote, you and your Iowa caucus scammer wife Casey are so desperate you have to reach to the bottom of the barrel now. Who down 50 points and trying to hang on for third place? Desperate people do desperate things. Delightful and scary, unquote. Got 182 likes. Scoop Texas says, quote, this is the most pathetic attempt I've seen from this campaign. It is a lie. They know it's a lie, and yet they tweet it anyway. Watch the video. That isn't what Trump said, unquote. Clown emoji 4 times. They got 67 likes. So thus far, 0 for 0 in the responses. Let's see. Someone by the name of Loves Doggy says, quote, this is a lie. And it is a picture that says seditious conspiracy. It says, quote, if 2 more persons conspire to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the United States, they shall each be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both, unquote. Got 2 likes. Someone by the name of Alaska Girl, who, B- for marketing. It does look like a girl. However, I don't see a single picture of like a state of Alaska or a polar bear or a funny Alaskan third thing. Nevertheless, this alleged Alaska Girl says, quote, he doesn't need to debate a man in heels. What about the photos of you with young girls and alcohol? President Trump doesn't need to debate a man who's polling as you are. He didn't say he said it. He said another man said it to him. He loved the military. He flew into war zones in jets with no lights on to visit them at Christmas. It's not going to work, unquote. He got 59 likes. Mandilgado says, quote, dude, just stop. Your career is already finished. You're just embarrassing yourself now, unquote. And this person also responded with a compilation of pictures with Trump and the U.S. military and all the servicemen being exuberant and happy that Trump is visiting. They got 19 likes. Richard Percival says, quote, oh, boo-hoo, they fought in wars on the other side of the planet for the benefit of Israel. Good for them, unquote. Got 53 likes. Let's see here. Someone by the name of David DeWitt says, quote, when you govern with slogans like Biden and Trump, Americans suffer, Bidenomics and MAGA are both con jobs being foisted on the American public. Biden and Trump's slogan-driven governing styles, fueled by massive debt, have drained the bank accounts and, well, geez Louise, this person rants for quite a little while. They've drained the bank accounts and happiness of the poor middle class. Americans see a country where protests and crime are more commonplace than trash pickup. practical common sense problem solving has been replaced by ideology-driven fear-mongering and nonstop chaos. Governor DeSantis offers a positive and proven plan of limited government, personal liberty, balanced budgets, unbiased justice, and compassion. By following this winning governing plan, Florida leads the nation in every way. As president, Ron DeSantis will step-by-step replace chaos and nonsense with compassion, sanity, and daily normalcy the majority of Americans crave. And it's a picture of Ron DeSantis smiling with his family. That got 84 likes, and it shows that DeSantis did not suffer from the Chris Christie effect, a phenomenon in which you get 0 positive responses, which mathematically speaking is nearly impossible because presumably you have maybe some friends, family, campaign staff, and yet Chris Christie has several instances in which he gets 0 positive responses. Now scrolling down to see if there's anything else here. The most popular one comes from Cat Turd. This person simply says, lie. It got 3,000 likes, and very well may be the very most popular response. Someone by the name of Jose Gallon has a video in which they photoshopped DeSantis' face onto Hillary Clinton's body. They got 46 likes. Brick Suit says, quote, "This is just objectively wrong. I don't know if Governor DeSantis or his staff sent this out, but it is a gross mischaracterization," unquote. Got 696 likes. Let's see here. We have looks like you might have a positive one. Someone by the name of Peter Heinlein says, quote, "For all the MAGA trolls here, no general would say Trump debating Clinton was braver than soldiers dying on the battlefield. No one. Making that up is just a way for Trump to pay himself a compliment," unquote. That got 1.6 thousand likes. So that's one of the top ones up there. Damian Imanilani says, quote, "He mentioned that a general who had witnessed soldiers losing their lives in combat said that. It's sad to see you being dishonest and using selective editing games to attack him. Whoever is advising you is killing your campaign," unquote. That got 2.5 thousand likes. Which begs the question, who on earth is advising his campaign, if anyone? Is he just flipping a coin? Well, no, that's not possible. Because if DeSantis was just flipping a coin, seemingly, statistically speaking, he'd have some good calls. There'd be some positive outcomes with this campaign. I mean, mathematically speaking, it's about 50-50 shot you'd make the right decision. And yet, again, I don't know who's in charge of his marketing or his campaign, but they are not connecting with voters, and they're not doing good. Someone by the name of Johnny Maga in the comments also said, quote, "You're such a deceitful rat," unquote. Got 2.3 thousand likes. Ultra MJ Truth says, quote, "He told a story of someone saying it to him. Ron, you would do much better if you didn't lie like Democrats. No wonder he calls you de-sanctimonious. Such a snake," unquote. Although, I should probably do a Trump accent if that's, he's saying that's what Trump calls him. "No wonder he calls you de-sanctimonious. Such a snake. The biggest out there, probably." Unquote, probably. Perhaps the worst Trump impression you've heard all year. But nevertheless, an attempt was made. And hopefully, maybe even smiled. Now, that did get 1.3 thousand likes. Not, my impression, but the statement previously noted. We'll do one more. Steak for breakfast, which, not a terrible idea. Now, Steak for breakfast says, quote, "Trump didn't denigrate anything, you snotty, bloated, high-heel-wearing train wreck of a human being." Paraphrasing a story where a serviceman spoke to Trump and commented on his debate doesn't seem like much of an embellishment either. "You're effing pathetic," unquote. Though he did say the actual F word. That got 2.2 thousand likes. And there are also dozens of pictures of Trump surrounded by beloved servicemen who are taking selfies with him. And again, as the youth might say, this person was ratioed, to say the least. It also begs the question, what the hell is his staff doing? Presumably the campaign staff still exists somehow. I don't know what, and again, just pulling up in the polls, last time I checked, he was just barely ahead of Nikki Haley for the Republican nominee. in all these poll aggregators. And of course, Trump is way in front of everyone. And she's getting closer, folks. So looks like, again, this changes on a darn near every second. But Trump, as of today, is at 61.7%. DeSantis is down to 12.2%, which is, again, terrible. He had great policies. He had a great, I guess going to say his announcement was lackluster to say the least, where he just said on Twitter, without using any visuals, just simply in monotone voice, that he was going to run for president. He started in the 30 percentile. He's like 36% or like 30%. Now he's down to 12.2%. Nikki Haley is up to 11.3%. And she just got she has the support of Wall Street, major businesses. They're all shifting their funding to her. And DeSantis has run the most expensive campaign. He ran the most expensive campaign, yet has the worst results. It's almost like Hillary Clinton 2.0, perhaps. But again, what he's saying and doing is resonating. Now, perhaps the silver lining is when you have less resources, you have to be more creative. You have to do things and use different mechanisms you didn't normally use when you had seemingly unlimited resources, and that inspires some creativity. So truth be told, maybe this will actually help his campaign. They'll have to think differently. Perhaps they'll actually fire some inept. I'm trying to think of a polite way of saying who's running his campaign right now, but I can't think of anything except mentally vacuous and terrible marketing people. Perhaps they'll get rid of them and replace them with literally anything else or anyone else, because that would be more effective than what they're doing now. So again, Nikki Haley's now at 11.3%. DeSantis is at 12.2%. Which if you told me that this was going to happen like a year ago, I would have said you were silly, ridiculous. DeSantis is beloved by many. He's starting off at 33% about in the polls, which again is still behind Trump, but that gap has just increased exponentially. And Nikki Haley is increasing, and she has more funds right now. So a lot of DeSantis' old donors have gone to her. So he has less resources, he has less funds. The Magic 8 Ball for the DeSantis campaign right now, the outlook would say is not so good. But I'd be fascinated to hear, what do you think he'll do differently? Maybe he'll turn around. Possibly. I'm not a gambling man, but I can't help but think the Las Vegas odds for DeSantis are not so good. Again, thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Don't forget, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of December. So if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment is a great way to give me a little bit of feedback. Let me know how I can make the show better and better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.